Romeo,
Juliet,
Verona, Koit and Laura. Yes, should we review Estonia's Eurovision 2017 entry?
Let's do this!
Lost in the crowd of the street. We are lost, like two sailing boats in the sea. We are lost, 'cause sometimes we're building and burning down love. We have lost our Verona. We lost and we found our Verona.
Oh, you guys, Esti Lau was full of surprises. There was Curly, there was Alina, but at the end of the day, there was Koit and Laura with Verona. I love this song. To me, it harks back to the best of the late 80s, Glenn Mendarios, Phil Collins, and yet there is a supersonic Nordic production boom behind this. It's straddling eras, and Laura is sitting there straddling it in her perfect ball gown. I love the staging. I loved how she served Miss Universe realness. I love the close-up expressions of Koit getting all hound dog, ain't nothing but a hound dog. All of that. It's just so touching to me.
Yeah.
You know, they capture the distance between lovers with those far panning shots, the solo shots. I think that Romeo and Juliet has a happy ending.
It's always a great time when I start with so I do like the song, and I have grown to like it a little bit more from when I first heard it. It wasn't my favourite at Esti Lau. There were many songs I had ahead of it, I think. But now that it's by itself, it does hold up well against the competition. I think it's definitely going to qualify. But then I sort of to run into problems with it. Laura, the way that the vocal register changes throughout that first sort of verse, it does seem to live, it doesn't always come through, I think. She did have technical problems, we think, at
She's
Eurovision.
been
She
sick
was also
both times.
sick.
This is
Yeah,
the thing.
she was sick.
Both the live vocals, she was sick as a dog.
And actually, I have to say, if you go on Wiwi Blogs, you can click on this link. We interviewed them immediately after their win, and she said she wasn't thinking about winning. She was thinking about getting through the performance because she was so ill.
Yeah. But again, that might happen again in Kyiv, and then...
You got a virus in your pocket?
Yeah, I'm kind of... but you can have lots of excuses for things sometimes, and... Look, I'm sure that we know she is a very, very competent vocalist, so I'm not that worried about that. But actually, the staging I don't really get as well. It feels too cold. Goodbye to Yesterday is my example of Estonian staging, where, you know, they hated each other, but you felt that sort of like weird love, hate, passion. The fact that they're so distant and the chemistry between them isn't quite the same as Alina and Stig's. It all just feels a little too cold and clinical, like, you know, it doesn't come across as true to me. Whereas Goodbye to Yesterday, I could kind of feel that. With Verona, I do just kind of feel like it happens, it finishes, it's not as memorable.
You know what? Let's not compare this to Alina Born, because
Yeah.
last place this year before, Stig's song, last in the semi-final. You know, people are running their mouths on social media about this, like, it's 80s, it's dated, it's a Shakespearean tragedy. You know what? Shakespeare wrote masterpieces, and this is a great piece of drama. All I can say is that I think Laura and Koit are fucking great. Yes, she's been sick the last few times. She won't be, because you know what? There's Lemsip, there is, like, cold and flu medication,
true.
and she will be the most drugged up performer there, because there's no bands on steroids, people at Eurovision. So, she'll be in fine voice, and Koit has nailed it every time. He has beautiful falsetto, and we see this time and again, male vocalists, like, there are a plethora this year trying to get to the upper register, and they bomb hard. He smashed it every time. Now, people call it wooden, but all I will say is people also love mahogany. This is a great piece of work, and also, let's be clear, in a year where Putin's aggression in the Baltic states is bad, don't hate on Estonia, because they might not be here next year.
Oh dear, let's hope they survive.
So, I think it's wonderful, and it has only improved for me. I will say that.
I've got to say, my one criticism, which a lot of people on Twitter have echoed, is that they are like mannequins, and you don't feel any chemistry. It's like, you could almost slot in any two singers because there's no fire there between them.
Yeah.
And it's okay because there is meant to be a chasm between these lovers. They themselves have said Verona doesn't have a happy ending. And I personally love the presentation. But I think if they can maybe, in those close-ups, work on natural expressions because they still feel very forced. Like, I think Laura does a better job than Koit does. She's more like, you know, it's in the eyes. It's not all of this, you know, it needs to be in the eyes, Koit. So you need to practice, honey, smize.
He looks a bit bored. And
Yeah.
again, going back, Stig Rast looked cocky or confident.
Yeah.
He needs a bit of confidence because at the moment it's like they're both pining for each other. The way that they're looking, it's like, I'm sad that this is over, but we're not going to work on our relationship. We're just going to sing at each other, and that doesn't really work. That doesn't make me want to vote for you. Clearly, it worked in Estonia though. Everybody wanted to vote for them there.
And let's remember, they were on second. The broadcaster tried to
Yeah.
kill them off in the
Killed
running
them.
order.
They
and
wanted
It
Curly.
was like, what, 42% of the
Yeah,
time?
they
Something
crushed
like
it.
They killed it.
double Curly. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And can I just say, the instrumentation, the opening sounds really draw me in. It's very sexy, like doom, 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 doom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
very modern. And then I don't get bored. This is one of those songs I'm like, okay, I'll just listen for a few seconds, and then I listen to all 3 minutes. It goes by very quickly.
And there's also that whole like whoosh into the bridge. Like I don't
Yes.
know, just like lifts and just. And I actually think the music video, people say like the live performance, the music video, they both
Love
have
it.
views like Koit's all scowly and dramatic. They had like the big light up firefly face at the national final. I think this could do very well for Estonia.
You know what? We often talk about Shanae and Nevergreen. The cheesy duet 2010 came forth for Denmark. And that had very simple staging, just a wall and a platform. I think this staging is much better. I think the sound is more current, but it still ticks that box of kind of nostalgic duet from the past. But this is more contemporary. So I think this is underrated by so many people.
And an 80s sound gave Mikosh back 3rd place in the televote last year.
It's a good point. In any case, we're not sure if the Estonian diaspora is as strong, but let's go around and give our scores out of 10 along with the prediction, Chris.
So I'm giving it a 6.5, and I know it probably sounded like I was going to be a lot harsher about the song, but I do genuinely enjoy it. You know, when it's on, I think it is very good. I prefer the studio version to the live, which is my one real issue with the song. Prediction-wise, definitely going to qualify. Then it gets a bit difficult. A lot of the time, Estonia we think will do better than it does, I feel like, and that is why I'm a little bit worried that this actually might come even in the 20s, actually, in the final. I suspect it will do a little bit better than that, because I do think that the juries will appreciate it. But there is also something in the back of my mind thinking, maybe not quite their year.
Yeah, Estonia was 7th with Alina and Stig, I think.
Yeah.
And we all expected that. They actually won the Wiwi Jury in 2015, so it is hard to predict. But in any case, my score is a 9. I have loved this from the national final on. It's just, it really does something. I can listen to this over and over again. I think it is the most played track on my iPhone from Eurovision this year.
Dua Lipa.
Actually, Macedonia is ahead of...
Really?
Wait, sorry, I shouldn't say that. In any case, my score is a 9. I love this. I think Laura and Koit, if they can turn up the fire and bring the heat, they will not go down in flames.
I mean, this is the thing, like, I'm so passionate about it now and it's grown for me because when we scored, like, months ago, this was only a 7 for me and now it has elevated significantly. I just think it's wonderful. And the 20s thing I completely disagree with because I think Alina and Stig did really well in televoting, actually.
Ah, true.
And, like, I think as well because, like, Norway 2015, that song was not, like, that phenomenal a ballad.
No.
And I think it is of the same ilk that it will. I could see this season top 10, if not top 5. I think, you know what, if Ella and Nikki made it, and God knows Nikki could not sing, and I don't think there was too much chemistry going on in that couple, like, Verona could do very well.
However, Nikki stood in front of a wind machine and let the hair flow.
Yeah.
Laura's got so much hairspray going on, you could have a tsunami, she'd still be like... In any case, there are more than 38, in fact, jurors on the Wiwi Jury this year, all over the world, in countries from Romania to Australia to the United States to the United Kingdom. Where else are they?
Ukraine.
Norway,
Norway,
Bulgaria,
Portugal,
Italy,
Hey Bernardo,
Czech Republic, Russia, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Belarus. No.
New Zealand.
New Zealand, oh my god, yes. In any case, the overall average across all these people, ranging in age from 16 to over 60, is lucky 7.
Wow.
We always say.
Yeah.
Magic
We always
7.
say if you get a 7 or above with the Wiwi Jury, it is a very good score.
Yeah.
And again, this shows it is a quality song.
Really quality.
Yeah.
I'm
Completely.
pleased with that, actually. I was expecting lower. In any case, Does Verona have a happy ending? Are Romeo and Juliet waking up? And will Koit and Laura make it to the final? And how high will they go? You can let us know here on Wiwi Blogs.
And make sure to leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section or on the Wiwi Blogs app, available on iOS and Android.
And make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you keep it with all our reviews.
And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.